Welcome back, American Family Radio Network, Financial Issues, 866-300-9298. 866-300-9298. I did want to get to some very interesting comments made by Doug Elmendorf. He is the CBO director, testifying before Congress yesterday. But we'll get to some calls and we'll come back to that. We also have some Jay Carney points, which we'll listen to just in case we need some comic relief. So we'll try to get to those. 866-300-9298, though, and we'll get to. Let me go to a couple calls. Let me go to Charles. Charles calling us from West Virginia. Hey, Charles.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Apparently your flights, you didn't have any flight problems.
Oh, yeah, I did. I got in at 2 o'clock this morning.
Oh, bless your heart. I was noticing your broadcast area there. It looks a little different. I thought maybe you flew right in without any problems.
No. I got delayed and got to the hotel here at 2 o'clock this morning, so I could get up in an hour to get ready for the program.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you so much. And I have two issues, and I'll make them brief. First of all, I reluctantly, after a lot of prayer, bought a used car. Well,
okay.
I have a credit union financing it for me at a really good rate, but I also have a standing line of credit with a home equity loan that would save me 0.7%. Plus, there's no minimum payment on the home equity loan if I should pay the car off with it. Is that worth converting to from the credit union loan to save 0.7% and have no minimum payment due monthly? And the second thing I wanted to mention was you talked about Puerto Rico yesterday or the day before. I read an article in Newsmax equating Puerto Rico's economy to Detroit, and I think that's kind of sort of what you were saying. Well, I'd like to hear a comment on that if you don't care.
Yeah, great stuff. Thank you, Charles. Yeah, I would convert that. I would convert it for two reasons. One is that the home equity is considered home loan, which means that interest, at least for now, is still deductible on your taxes if you file a long form. So that would help you out there. And if you do file the long form and use that interest as a deduction, really that reduces the effect of the interest rate even more. So I think that makes good sense. I would probably, though, caution you, Charles, not to get too, comfortable or make it too convenient to only pay the interest, but that you continue. You don't have to pay the exact mortgage or car payment you're paying now, but that you would continue to pay something towards the principal of that. So I think that's fine. The other thing, I equated it to Greece in that, could this end up being we're just going to bail them out one time, oh, we got to do it again, oh, we got to do it again kind of thing. I mean, when you look at the Puerto Rican economy, it's in very bad shape, and it has been for several years. The unemployment rate is extremely high. They are having the Puerto Rico is going through an incredible brain drain. Everybody is moving here to the United States. So anybody that has any, skills on a high level, they're losing because they can't get jobs. So they're coming here. So they've had this brain drain going on. I don't know if I didn't see the Newsmax article. I don't know if it talked about that, but you've got this mass exodus of people looking for better jobs, coming here to America, which they can easily do from Puerto Rico to here. So they've got that going on. So they've got this high unemployment rate. So I'm not sure how they have a tourist industry, which is still okay as okay as any tourist business is, which isn't great, but nevertheless. So they've got some big issues, and I will expect that they're going to be dependent upon the U.S. at some point in time. And, the U.S. is steering clear of it, so they say. But if it's not the U.S., it's going to be the Fed. But somebody's going to bail them out, I would suspect. Either the Fed, and we're never going to know about it because of the lack of transparency there, or it's going to be the federal government. So we'll have to watch that. It'll be interesting to see. So it's good though that somebody else is writing about it. There's conservative news, of course, writing about it and talking a little bit about that, because I think it is a very, very important issue. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate you as always. Thank you for the call. Let me go to Michael. Michael calling us from Oklahoma. Hey, Michael.
Hi, Dan. This is Mike. How you doing?
Good, Mike.
Dan, I'm a partner and a retiree, and I really appreciate your show and all your financial advice.
Thank you.
Get your buy list and your email alerts and all of that. And I'm about ready to do a self-directed IRA. I want to consolidate several of my old 401ks into a self-directed IRA, as I believe you've been recommending under certain circumstances for some of us retirees. And I was wondering, is Scottrade an acceptable IRA custodian and discount broker in your?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think Scottrade is, I think all the biggies, Scottrade, E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, Schwab, I think they're all comparable. And I think Scottrade is acceptable as well. Now, the only thing that I've always cautioned people about, even, with Schwab in particular, Schwab has their own products. They have their own mutual funds. They have their own stock, obviously, things like that. And I just want to make it clear that I'm not endorsing those mutual funds or stock. I'm not, and with any of them, I'm not doing that. This is strictly a platform. Everybody needs a platform in which they are trading from, and that's all this is. So always remember, Mike, that let's say you're using Scottrade and for some reason Scottrade goes bankrupt. It isn't going to impact your investments.
Great.
People think, well, I have everything. No, because let's say part of your investment is, ConocoPhillips in their stock. I mean, you own ConocoPhillips stock. Now, the platform in which you bought it and the platform that is the custodian for it happens to be Scottrade, but it's got nothing to do with your ownership of ConocoPhillips or International Paper or whatever companies you own. So, the only way you get hurt is if you own their own stock, or some of their mutual funds might get hurt, like in the case of Schwab that I pointed out. So people say, well, I don't want all my eggs in one basket. Your eggs aren't even in, this is a basket that is holding investments, but your investments inside that basket are all going to be diversified. So I think it's acceptable. I think they're fine. So I don't have a problem with that.
Well, that's great, Dan. That brings me to my next question, and that is, from your buy-sell list that you provide to us as partners, I was going to use that list to invest those self-directed funds.
Yes.
And for us retirees, you've been recommending income and dividend-producing type stocks. How do I pick out the right kind of stocks for us retirees from your buy list? How do I know which ones are the income-producing stocks that we should?
Good question. Yeah, good question, Mike. And I'm working. We're going through a lot of changes. I saw a prototype of the changes. It's looking pretty good, and we're getting through that. And some of the things are going to indicate dividend producing. But one of the things you can do, Mike, is if you now you have this trading platform of Scottrade. You can go on to Scottrade where. Well, I'm sorry, I'm having a little technical issue here. Oh, man. Let's see. Okay. Well, sorry, Mike. Anyway, you can go on Scottrade, and when you go on there, you'll see to get charts. You can put in, if you want to get information on a stock, you can put in BHI, a symbol. Baker Hughes, and you put that symbol in there, and it's going to pull up a chart. When it pulls up that chart, it's towards the bottom of the chart. It's going to have a number of things, not like 20 things you have to surf through, but it's going to have some basic information, and the basic information is going to be the PE ratio of the company. It's going to, but in that, it's going to say the annual yield, which are the dividends that it's producing. And it's going to say that the annual yield is 3.5%. So the best way to do it is check out the chart, get the symbol name of what you're thinking, to put it into the chart, and you'll see right away if it's paying dividends and what that amount is on an annual basis.
Finally, I'm trying to be quick here, Dan. The process is I set up the IRA with Scottrade.
Yes.
And I go to my 401k administrator and ask them to make the rollover. The rollover goes into cash with Scottrade.
No, here's what happens. Wait a minute, let me just interrupt you for a minute there, Mike. So when you set your account up with Scottrade, you'll have in that account form, you'll have a transfer form or a rollover form. And they will do it. You fill out the rollover form, they take care of it.
Oh, great.
So their transfer agent will communicate with wherever your 401k, your old 401k or IRA is with now. They will communicate with their transfer agent, and it just comes over. So it'll just show up in your account. Now,
and so it will be basically in cash at that point.
Not necessarily. That is up to you. So it'll say, do you want to transfer in kind, meaning that you can transfer. So I assume that you have mutual funds in there, right?
Yes.
So you can actually transfer the mutual funds, just as they are now, over into the Scottrade account and then sell them and go into cash. Or you can say on that transfer form, sell and transfer the cash, and they'll do it that way. The reason that makes a difference is you might be with a 401k company that is going to charge you high fees to sell some of those mutual funds. In that case, you wouldn't sell them, you would transfer them, because Scottrade's either going to charge you nothing. Schwab doesn't charge to sell, for instance, mutual funds, but some do. I don't know about Scottrade. So they're either going to charge you nothing or they're going to charge you a very minimal fee.
Right. Okay, so I could transfer the actual mutual fund, and then I could convert it to the
Correct.
stock themselves. Oh,
Correct.
Great. Dan,
Yep.
I sure appreciate that, Dan. Any other advice I need to hear from you on that?
No, I think that's good. The only thing I would tell you as a partner, and I appreciate your support, you'll see my asset allocation model. You'll see that. Just remember, don't try to fill it out, the model, all at once. And what I mean by that is, you see this asset allocation model, but you need to make sure that you don't. It may take you a year to fill all the requirements of the asset allocation model, because I don't want you buying anything that's not on my buy list. You know what I mean? So if you have a particular thing in your asset allocation model that hasn't been on my buy list in months, that's okay. Wait it out and fill it out when it hits the buy list.
Great. Thanks, Dan.
All right.
Mike,
thank you for your call. I appreciate it. I'm glad that's some help to you. 866-300-9298. Let me go to Randy. Randy from Oklahoma. Hey, Randy.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Great. Hey, I'm calling in as a independent business owner, Marine Corps veteran, and one thing I studied after I got out of the Corps was graduate school, high-level corruption in government, banking, and I've been following it for 15 years intensively now. And did you hear about the Harvard economist just this, I think it was last week, he took $1 million of his own account of his money funds out of Bank of America.
Yes.
And so word on the street from some of my sources is that there's a number of banker suicides that have unprecedented, and internationally, not necessarily in the U.S.
Yes.
But
right.
There's a sovereign debt crisis brewing here, and I'm wondering if you have been talking about alternative assets and currencies for people to diversify into things like silver, of course, and gold, and then Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Are you looking at those and talking about them?
I've been talking about all of those things now for, well, not the Bitcoin. I've been talking about that for the last 5 years, but all the others I have talked about extensively on a regular basis. One of the things that, and the other thing that I've talked about extensively in my career, back when I owned a trust company, I'm managing hundreds of millions of dollars. I never once bought a bank stock. That was when banks were perceived to be good. And I didn't buy them then, and I certainly wouldn't buy them now. And the reason I didn't buy them was very simple. I believe them to be a very core, small group without proper accountability, the upper management without proper accountability. When I went to investment conferences, whether I was speaking at one or whether I was just there, when I went to those conferences, they didn't even know what they did. They didn't even know how they made their money. And needless to say, the last thing I wanted to do was to buy them. But I'm going to come back and finish up this question after the break. I assume we're going to break here. 866-300-9298. We'll be right back.